to the Auto Ranch. Today I want to talk about my 92 Nissan Sentra SE-R and what happened on the Bring a Trailer auction that ended about a week ago. It's taken me about a week kind of to digest, some of the things that happened and really to kind of make sense of it all. I mean, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't disappointed with the outcome of the auction. However, that, I don't really blame anybody for that, especially not Bring a Trailer. I actually had a really good experience. This was the first time I had sold with them. I've sold several cars at different auctions in my career and in my hobby career as well. But I've never used Bring a Trailer, and it was actually a good experience. Michelle who was assigned to my auction. She did a great job, and actually it happened a lot quicker than I thought it was, and I think some of that had to do with the fact that it had run before, so they already kind of had a lot of the details, because I had heard it took several weeks to get cars on there, and for me it really didn't take that long. It was only a week or two process. So it was a good experience with the auction and getting it set up. What I always tell people about auctions is that, to have a successful auction, you really have to have a couple things. One, you have to have two bidders who really want the car. That's a must. And you have to have a certain amount of good marketing, for the particular car, particularly in the collector car market on something as much of a niche car as this is with the miles that it has. You have to have the right marketing and create the right pizzazz around the car. And the mistakes I think I made is I probably brought it back to Bring a Trailer or to market too soon. It's only been 10, 11 months. But I said when I bought this car, I wasn't going to keep it for very long. My history is, there's only one car in this garage that's been here more than 12 months. It's just not my thing. I wanted to enjoy it. It was a car I'd always wanted in high school. I kind of got my thrill out of it. And, I certainly wanted to take care of it. It had been very well cared for, and I wanted to continue that. And I did do that. I did some maintenance on it to make it roadworthy for the next person. And then I wanted to pass it along. It was never a money play. In fact, I set the reserve at this auction at $30,000, which was less than I paid for it anyway. So I knew going in there was a chance I could, I probably would lose money on it. And that, again, it wasn't a money play. It was more about, clearing space and satisfying my car addiction, because you can't buy more cars if you have money tied up in one and you don't have space, and we're running out of space here. So that's kind of what my expectations were, with the car. It obviously fell short. Bid to like $24,000. It was, and I think a lot of people said, the car was worth more than that. I'm biased. I believe that. I think the car was worth at least 30 grand, probably more than that if you had the right two people. So, anyways, I made some notes. I kind of want to look at what happened during the auction. Before I get too far, the one thing I forgot to note here was the one thing, Bring a Trailer, they encourage you to do a no reserve auction. I'm very glad that I didn't want to do that, and I kind of told them I wasn't comfortable with that. You just never know, and that's the thing you learn about with auctions, is that especially in the collector car market where there's not a lot of transactions for the same car. Like, this is a one-off car with 700 miles on it in the condition it's in. On any given day, a car can do outrageous money, or it can fall short. So, particularly with something like this, I wasn't comfortable with not having a reserve, and in the end I was glad I did, that I stuck to that. So anyways, let's take a look a little bit at the numbers, because where I think the problem happened here was in the marketing. And that's on me, and somewhat, the industry. The fact that I brought it back so quickly, there wasn't as much desire to publish it. But the first time this car ran, and it came, to people's attention last year when I bought it, this thing was picked up by 6 online magazines. And honestly, that's how I heard about it. I wasn't looking on Bring a Trailer for, early 90s Nissan Sentra SE-Rs. They're a car that I've always loved and wanted, but it's not something I was actively looking. When I saw the magazine online, I think it was either the Haggerty or Car and Driver one, it definitely caught my attention. We didn't have that this time, and that's I guess that's to be expected. But when I go through these numbers, you're going to see that that did play a significant role in this. So we had 20,000 views this time on the car, which is good. No complaints about that. However, last time we had almost 80,000 views, so 60,000 less people were looking at the auction this time around versus the last time. Then I always look at watchers because, you know, there's people just are curious more than anything, but if somebody's going to be serious about bidding on it, they're probably going to be a watcher, right, towards the end. And most of the action happens at the end on auctions. There were 800 watchers this time. A lot of those occurred, incidentally, I watched, you know, in the last day, but the last time around it had almost 1,300. So you had 500 more serious buyers, if you will, involved, you know, looking at it. So that certainly played a fact. The other thing was engagement with people and how much they were interested. And I did the best I could to try and get people to obviously comment and to spread the word. But last year when it ran, it brought almost 400 comments, you know, from people, a lot of people reminiscing about the car and how amazing it was. This year, again, probably too soon, we only had 151. So that tells you the engagement was certainly significantly less. So I think when you add those things up, I brought it back to market probably too soon, and there wasn't a lot of marketing, you know, that the last time got the benefit of. Has the market changed? That's the other thing I hear a lot of people say, oh, the market's crashed, and, you know, that's the reason why a car, you know, fell short. I don't doubt that the market has changed. It's always changing. Is it off 30% from where it was a year ago? No, it's not anywhere near that. And realistically, in the collector car market, if you watch the Kissimmee auction, you know, with Meekum, or you follow Bring a Trailer, we've seen some incredible auctions to start off 2023. I say that the economy is kind of a tale of, you know, it's a story of two different animals. At the top, there's with people that have a lot of disposable income, there isn't a lot of recession fear. You know, there may be recession fear, but it hasn't impacted their buying habits based on some of these auctions we've had so far this year. And then, you know, the second half, you know, of the economy, the demographic, yeah, people are concerned, you know, with inflation and interest rates and the stock market. And so, yeah, people are being more cautious on the bottom end of the market. But realistically, in the collector market, these are people with disposable income. You're not going to finance this car. You're not going to finance, you know, most of the cars on Bring a Trailer. Those are people that have cash that are looking to fulfill a pleasure or add to a collection. So, you know, those people, that particular market really hasn't seen much of a decline. And some may even say it's increased on certain types of cars. I mean, I think when you look at Bring a Trailer, I mean, we've seen some crazy auction on cars that are not nearly as nice as this from this era. And of course, everyone's going to talk, and I'm going to mention it, the 92 Volkswagen GTI. I think it was like $87,000 or $88,000 on a 50,000 mile GTI. Why? Well, you had two people that really wanted it, and you know, Bring a Trailer, there was lots of speculation. It was money laundering, whatnot. You know, Bring a Trailer says they verified it. It was a legitimate purchase. I believe it. You have to get the right two people and the right interest. And when that starts happening, the marketing gets attached to it. And then, of course, just last week we had a R32 from 04, which is a more rare car than this. But again, still, you know, 100-mile car, very similar to the Nissan in the sense it's just a real rare gem, and it brought over 100,000. And I could go on and on. Every day there's something out there. Particularly with a lot of these early '90 cars, you're starting to see more interest from people that grew up during that time frame. So, you know, the other thing I would say, and I still firmly believe this, you know, there is a great love for the Nissan Sentra SE-R from the early 90s. It wasn't a super popular car back then. I should say it didn't get the credit it deserved then. And it isn't now. But what there is there are a lot of people who have fond memories of these cars. They love them, and they're at a point in their life where in the near future they're going to have disposable income to spend on cars, and and the reality is we all kind of go back to our youth and wanting to relive that with cars, music, houses to some degree, where areas of the country we live. People will move back to that, and that's why I believe this car hasn't had its day yet. It's not just my car. In general, the early 90s, the ones that are still in good condition, that haven't been ratted out and beat on and rusted out, these cars will bring money. And in particular, I'm biased with this car. I probably won't have it long enough to see it. There will come a day when this car will ring the bell again at auction. It's a rare piece. There is no other one like it out there, and to somebody, again, you need two people that feel this way. They grew up with it, and they're going to want to put it in their collection. And again, it can probably have 1,500 miles. It doesn't really matter. There's nothing close to that. So I do think, we missed it this time, but I don't think that it's seen its last, heyday in terms of its value. I guess the other question becomes, what's next for the car? That was the other question a lot of people ask me, and that's a good question. I'm going to hold on to the car a little longer because I'm not going to give the car away. There's a certain amount of money I feel it's worth and that I need to get for it. I'm going to keep enjoying it. It's a first world problem, right? To have to look at it every day and have the opportunity to drive it when the weather is nice. And I will do that. But I'm going to offer the car again. I won't be offering it on Bring a Trailer, obviously. Their policy is if you don't sell it, if one doesn't hit the reserve, you're pretty much done. But I will offer it again, realistically, probably again sometime a little bit later this year. To try again, and maybe there'll be some more interest and more publicity to it. Again, I'm looking in other forms. You're only looking for one buyer because it's not an auction setup. And if it doesn't sell there for the right money, again, I'll keep it. It's a very relative to what some of the other cars have. It's a relatively low investment. I'd love to see a museum like Nissan's Heritage Museum. Some people have speculated they've had interest in it. If they do, I urge them to reach out to me. I'd love to see it end up somewhere where other people could really see it and enjoy it. And if not that, I hope it goes to somebody who will take care of it like I have, and certainly the first owner, and preserve it, but also use it and enjoy it. That's what they're meant to be used for. So that's kind of my plan for the future. I know there was some question about that. I needed some time to digest it and really think about kind of what really happened there. And I think this kind of explains it, at least in my mind, coming from an auction background, as well as a car enthusiast. And I hope it clarifies. If nothing else, it answers. It throws out another opinion. There's lots of opinions in the car business. So. Anyways, I appreciate you taking time to listen. Hopefully you heard something that was interesting, and we'll continue to make some content with it as long as I have it. Thanks for watching.